Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and happy post-Thanksgiving. So let's start out with the reading of our community. Does everyone have one of these? If not, maybe you can share it with a neighbor. We'll do it responsibly. May the door of this community be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this community be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May we refuse to admit complacency, selfishness and harshness. Thank you. And let's read the top of page 1 together. These lights are only flickering flames, yet flames illumine our uncertain steps. Flames remind us of Sabbath long past and of their beauty that delighted our hearts. May they inspire us to work for the great Sabbath of peace. Carol, would you come up here, please? Okay, just press the button. Okay. Oh, wait a minute, just a minute. Let's do that. I'm sorry. The microphone. Hold it close.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And then read the below the translation.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who heals us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Okay, then continue to the bottom of the page.
When we exploit nature with reckless greed,
On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we think only of ourselves.
On Shabbat, we open our hearts to the needs of others.
Therefore, we welcome Shabbat, day of rest, day of joy,
Day of peace. Thank you. Okay. All right, let's go to page 2, and together, let's sing Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now let's skip a page for the time being. Let's go to page 4 to read the translation of Shalom Aleichem. And keep in mind that this is a traditional prayer that people would say on their way to the synagogue on Friday night or on their way home together on the top of page 4. Peace be to you, ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, of the Supreme Sovereign, the Holy One, ever to be praised. Enter in peace, O messengers of the Most High, of the Supreme Sovereign, the Holy One, ever to be praised. Bless us with peace, O messengers of the Most High, of the Supreme Sovereign, the Holy One, ever to be praised. Depart in peace, O messengers of the Most High, of the Supreme Sovereign, the Holy One, ever to be praised. And now let's go back to page 3. And let's first read. Harvey, I think you have the mic there? Okay. Would you read the English on page 3? It's in 3 different places, top, middle, and bottom.
Beloved, come to meet the bride. Beloved came so to greet Shabbat. Keep and remember a single command the only God caused us to hear. The Eternal is one. God's name is one. Glory and praise are God's. Enter in peace, O crown of your husband. Enter in gladness. Enter in joy. Come to the people that keeps its faith. Enter, O bride. Enter, O bride.
Thank you. Let's sing it together now. L'cha dodi l'krakala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha dodi l'krakala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad kishmiyanu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem u'lifteres v'litzila, l'chadodi l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadodi l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom asiferes bala, gam v'simcha uv'tachala, toch emunei am sula. Boi kala, lecha dodi l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Now, go back to page 4, or go forward to page 4 again, and we'll sing L'Chul together. L'Chul 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 L'Adonai. L'Chul L'Adonai. Naria, Latsur Yishenu, Nikad Mapanapulata. Naria, Latsur Yishenu, Nikad Mapanapulata. L'Chul L'Adonai, L'Chul L'Adonai. Bismirot, Naria Lo. Bismirot, Naria Lo. Bismirot, Naria Lo. Bismirot, Naria Lo. L'Chul And now, Yolanda, you want to read the bottom, the English at the bottom of page 4. Put the mic up to your mask. Keep the microphone up there. Yeah.
Could you? Come, let us sing joyously in Adonai. Raise a shout for the rock and the deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is the great God, the great ruler of all divine beings.
Thank you, Yolanda. You know, I should have begun by asking if there's anybody here who's attending the Friday night services for the first time. Is there? Or are we all old timers? Okay, I guess that answers the question. All right, let's stand now if you're able to comfortably on page 5 for the Shema, for the Baruch Hu and the Shema. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach, Baruch Adonai HaMavorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Praise the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due, now and forever. Blessed be the Lord our God, the ruler of the universe, who makes light and creates darkness, who ordains peace and fashions all things. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, together. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Blessed be his glorious sovereignty forever and ever. You may be seated. Now let's read this together, the Ahavtah in Hebrew, on the top of page 6. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol miodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanta lefanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'tzecha v'lechtecha b'derech v'shachcha kunecha Ushartam liot al yodecha, v'chotovos bein einecha, v'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha.
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, together. Michamocha belim Adonai, Michamocha nadar b'kodesh, Nora Tehillah Osefel. Who is like you, eternal one among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, doing wonders? Page 7. And again, let's stand, if you can do so comfortably, for the Amidah. Baruch, Baruch, wait, I can't get the tune. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu Ramotenu V'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Raphael, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'Mochos, Umevi Gula, Livnei V'neihem, L'mahan Shemo, Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Yezrat Sarah. Top of page 8. Let's continue. Atah Gibor Li'olam Adonai, Mechayev HaKol HaTorah V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'Mashiv HaGoshem, Mechalchel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayev HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mechayei Emunato, L'Shenei Afor, Michamot B'Hagurot, U'Midom Elah, Melech Meni, U'Mechayei, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, Ne'emon Atah Hayos HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol. Continuing with the Kadosh at the bottom of the page. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melo Kol Haaretz Kavodo. Holy, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, the whole world is filled with His glory. Heavenly voices respond with praise. Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimkomo. Blessed is the glory of the Lord throughout the universe, and in your holy psalms it is written, Yemot Adonai Leolam, Elhai Tzion Lador, Lador, Hallelujah. The Lord shall reign through all generations, your God Zion shall reign forever, Hallelujah. You may be seated. Okay, now we have a couple songs on page 9. At the top of the page, Shamru. Let's do that together. The Shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat L'Dorat HaBarit Olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat L'Dorat HaBarit Olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael od hi li'olam, od hi li'olam. V'shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat L'Dorat HaBarit Olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et HaShamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat L'Dorat HaBarit Olam. Last line. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'nafash, Shabbat v'nafash, Shabbat v'nafash. V'shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat L'Dorat HaBarit Olam. Next reader, in the middle of page 9.
The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, now Yismachu, at the same page, starting in the middle of the page. Together, Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Makadashei, Makadashei Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisba'u Ve'yitanu Mituvecha Shabbat. Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashta Shabbat. And that yamin otokarata Shabbat. Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. Zecher Lamaseh, Lamaseh V'reshit Shabbat. Zecher Lamaseh, Lamaseh V'reshit Shabbat. Yismachu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei Oneg Shabbat. All right, the next reader, would you read the translation of that at the bottom of page 9?
Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For being pleased with the seventh day, you hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation.
Thank you, Elisa. All right, top of page 10. Together, Shalom Rav. Again, I always, whenever we come here, I always say this is my favorite song in the
This
Friday night service. Together, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Alpha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Alpha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon, l'chol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon, l'chol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'chol eitz u'v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Kasim Leolam. Together. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch et amo Yisrael Shalom. The next reader, could you read the translation of that song at the middle of the page, Ken?
Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forget, for you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be a blessing to you, bless your people Israel in every reason and moment with your peace.
Thank you, Arlene. Okay, now we come to the prayer for healing, middle of page 10. And if you know of somebody who needs healing, please raise your hand and Marv will come around, and if you want to read their name, you can do that.
Ann and Jerry Graff and Barbara Candleman.
Ann Edwards. Victor Hoffman.
Anita Lebovitz.
My daughters, Adina Herman and Alana Dorr, and my sister, Rena Alter.
Philip Bloomberg.
Annabelle Jacobson.
Okay, so let's do the Mishabera together. Mishabera Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabera imotenu makor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And the next reader, could you read the translation of that at the top of page 11?
O God, in our hearts, we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers with the prayers of all who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you have placed within us all. Guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked with theirs. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim.
We
Praise you, Lord, the source
of
healing and health.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, let's take a little break. And I just have a little few remarks I want to make. I'm wondering if everyone remembers, how can you forget, the concert we had just a few weeks ago, the Hotsy Totsy concert. As a matter of fact, I know they're looking around, I see a few people who performed at the concert. And remember how it started with a raffle of the bowl that Pat O'Donnell made, and I think it raised $500 for the benefit of the Niles Township Food Pantry. And then a guy named Mark, I can't remember his last name, who is in charge of the food pantry, thanked us and made this passionate plea for donations with his booming voice. I mean, I think you could have heard him from across the street. And he talked about hunger, and which he knew personally because he explained that he was, his mother was a single parent, and they needed that kind of help as he was growing up. So you might wonder, why am I bringing this up right now? Well, hear me out. Tomorrow morning, this Shabbat, the Torah reading is named, the name of the Torah reading for tomorrow morning is called Toledot, the Hebrew word which means something like the meaning of the word generation, generations. It's the story of Jacob and Esau, who were the twin sons of Isaac and Rebekah. And Isaac, as you may recall, was Abraham's son. And I'd like to explain how hunger, in a very strange way, played a big part in their lives. And strange, I say, because they weren't lacking for food. In fact, Isaac owned flocks of livestock. But yet, you'll see how hunger played a big part in their lives. The two brothers were fraternal twins, meaning that they were not identical. They were the product of two separate eggs fertilized by two separate sperms. So that genetically, there was no more similarity between them than there would be between any two siblings of the same parents. And in fact, they were different. They were very different in many respects, both in appearance and character and otherwise. Esau was loud, outgoing, like the outdoors and hunting with his bow and arrow, whereas Jacob was just the opposite. He was quiet, more to himself, was content to just be sitting in his tent thinking and contemplating. And Esau was the oldest, but he was the oldest only because he came out first. And he came out with a full head of red hair, followed by Jacob, who was grasping his foot, and which explains their names actually, because Esau in Hebrew means hairy. I don't mean the name Harry, but I mean H-A-I-R-Y. And Jacob in Hebrew has a meaning also. It means to follow behind. But as the oldest, Esau was entitled to what was called the birthright. And the birthright in biblical times was a very, very big deal. It meant not only did the oldest male get a double portion of any inheritance, but also he would succeed to be the head of the family, and was entitled to the respect. And once the father passed away, he would succeed as the head of the family, and would deserve the respect of all the other members of the family. He'd sit at the head of the table, run any family business, and so forth. but maybe the biggest deal of all, the biggest for this particular family, one of the biggest aspects of being the birthright, having the birthright, was that he would be given Isaac's, the father's, special, what is called, the Torah calls it the innermost blessing, which was thought to have, a blessing that was thought to have been given to Abraham from God and then passed down from Abraham to Isaac. And Jacob was very, very jealous that his brother had this birthright. So as they grew up, a sibling rivalry developed, and this sibling rivalry was fierce, and it wasn't surprising because the parents played favorites. Isaac liked Esau more because they were both interested in hunting and outdoors, whereas Rebekah favored Jacob. And any psychologist will tell you that one of the most effective ways of bringing about sibling rivalry is for the parents to show favoritism. So one day Jacob is cooking a stew for himself, and Esau comes in after being out hunting for many days, and he's very, very hungry, famished, and he smells this wonderful stew, and he asks Jacob to give him some. And as the conversation went on, he says, "I'll give you anything for this stew. I need to eat right now." And Jacob says, "Anything? Well, will you sell me your birthright?" And he says, "Yes, but don't ask me any more questions. I need to eat right now or I'll die, and my birthright won't do me any good anyway." So Jacob, the shifty guy that he was then, he says, "All right, but first I want you to swear an oath to that effect," which he does. And Esau then gets his wonderful meal at great cost. Well, many years later, when their father Isaac is very old and blind, and they all think, in fact, Isaac himself realizes that could die at any time. Rebekah and Jacob conspire to have Isaac give this special blessing to Jacob, which is really meant to go to Esau, the oldest. And in other words, they weren't relying on this transaction that took place years before, because Isaac didn't know anything about that. And they decided that it's too late to explain everything to him that took place so many years ago, and who knows how he would react to it anyway. So they decided to trick him and have Jacob pose as Esau, and it worked. Isaac indeed did give this special blessing to who he thought was Esau. And after this is found out, Esau finds out, he's absolutely furious, and he threatens to kill Jacob. Not then and there, but he says, when father is dead and the period of mourning is over, I'm going to kill you. Well, Rebekah, the mother, who was really a part of this duplicity, decides, you know what, he means it from his heart, and Jacob, you have to leave, you have to get out of here. So they lived in Beersheba at the time, and she says, you go to my brother's house in Haran and live there. And the interesting thing is that when Isaac learns of this trick that was played on him, he too decides that, you know what, you have to go to Haran, get out of here. He not only that, but he gives Isaac an additional blessing. In other words, it's almost like he realizes that even though Isaac pulled this trick on him, that perhaps he's the better person to carry on the family heritage than Esau would be. So how does it all play out after that? Well, Jacob, who's now many years later, he's living in Haran. His name, by the way, is now, he's not known as Jacob anymore. His name is Israel. And he makes a new life for himself. He gets married and has at least 13 children. And now, at that time, concubines were not uncommon, so all these children were undoubtedly not from his wife. The concubine was not another wife. It wasn't he didn't marry all these people, but they were like there to make sure that there was a male heir, or to satisfy the sexual desires of the father. But for one reason or another, he had 13 children. So Jacob indeed does become the patriarch of the family. And Esau did okay for himself too. He becomes the founder of a huge kingdom called Edom. And Edom has a meaning too in Hebrew. It means red, referring to his hair. I'm pointing to my hair, but don't give that any value. Edom is now what is part of present-day Israel and Jordan. Oh, and a happy ending to this, because the brothers do eventually reconcile. And reconciliation of family disputes is difficult. It takes risk, and it's one of the great stories of reconciliation. What also needs to be talked about is Esau's impulsiveness. Obviously, he wasn't going to die of hunger. He was, when he bargained away his birthright, he was exhibiting his characteristic of impulsiveness. He was childish impulsiveness. I need it now. And the Torah from this Torah story, you can see how impulsiveness can lead to problems. One final thing that I came across that I think I'd like to share with you is regarding impulsiveness. Just imagine, just hypothetically, a couple who are both impulsive, highly impulsive. How do you think they get along? Do you think they get along well, or do you think they would have an explosive relationship? What would be your guess? Well, as a matter of fact, there's at least one study that was done on the subject from the university at the University of Buffalo that concluded that where both parties are impulsive, they tend to be happy. You know, like, hey, let's move to Hawaii. Oh, okay, let's move to Hawaii. You know, they may not do very well, but they're happy. They tend to be happy. So apparently the compatibility. This is the conclusion of the study, that the compatibility, even though it's a negative characteristic, overcomes the negativity, and they do get along well. So I thought I'd pass that on to you. Okay. Now let's go back to page 11 and let's stand for the Aleinu, if you can do comfortably. Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol l'teifkedu l'yotzer b'reishit shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kohen v'gor aleinu k'fal hamona v'anachnu korim Umishtabim umodim Livnei melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 12 at the top. Ne'emar V'hoya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz V'yom hahu Hayom hahu Yeah, Adonai Echad, Ushamo, Ushamo, Ushamo Echad. Together. Thus it has been said, Adonai will be sovereign over all the earth. On that day, Adonai will be one, and God's name will be one. Please be seated. And let's read together the English in the middle of page 12. On Shabbat, we think of all the people we love, those who are with us and those who are no longer with us. We remember the happy times we spent with them, the many things they taught us, the laughter we shared, and we thank God for the time we had together. Now, point of the mourner's Kaddish. If you have a yortzeit or a loved one's name you'd like to mention, Mark will be around with the mic.
Leanne Burkhold.
Thank you.
Jerome Jerry Hoffman.
Benjamin Ellis.
Karen Gerard. Michael and Thelma Girardi, Jeffrey Girard.
My brother Neil.
Okay. So if it's your custom to stand for the mourner's Kaddish, let's do so now. Yizgadal, Yizgadash, Shemei Rabbah, Yalmad, Yivrach, Shiratei, Yamlich, Malchutei, B'chayei Chon, V'yomei Chon, B'chayei, B'chal Beit Yisrael, Ba'agalo, Uzman Karid, Yamru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mabarak V'Olam V'Olmei Olmaya Yitbarak Yishtabak Yitba'ar Yidroman Yitnaseh Yithadar Yithalev Yithalal Shemei D'Kedesham Barichu V'Yelam Yinkal Birfata V'Shirata Tushbafata V'Nechamata Namiran V'Alma V'Yamru Amen Yehei Shlama Rabba Mitshemaya V'chaim Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yamru Amen. Osa Shalom B'Ramav, U'yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yamru Amen. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us for all Israel, and for all who dwell on earth. May God give strength to all who remember, and let us say, Amen. While the grape juice and challah is being distributed, let's do Ein Keloheinu together. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kamalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Hamalkeinu, Mi Hamoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Hamalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Well, is there somebody here who wants to lead Adon Olam? Okay, Marv.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'eis Nasav Against the Kol Azai Melech Shemol Nivra Li'acharei Kiflos HaKol Levado Yimloch Norah Behu Aya, Behu Hoda, Behu Yiyah, Besivara, Behu Echad, V'yein Sheni, V'had Shilo, V'had Bira, V'li Reshis, V'li Chaslit, V'lo Hoz, V'had Yisrael, V'hu Leili, V'chai Goali, Yitzurtani, Ye'esara, V'hu Nisi, Umanosli, Manei Tzachon, V'yom Nekra, V'yodo, Akfiruti, Ye'ishad, Ye'ahira, V'imruki, V'iraski, Adonai li v'lo ira.
Thank you. Now, once everyone has the grape juice and challah, we're going to use the other insert, and it says at the top of the page 33, Kiddush and Motzi. Does everyone have the grape juice and challah? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho ya'avahu ratzon in Hilanu Ziharon Lemase Bereshit Ki Hu Yom Tehillah
במקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, אותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, יאהבה ורצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. Now, if you turn the page over, we'll do the Hamotzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hope it's a good week for everybody.
Amen.